Previously on Cam Candor.
Cam Candor was the single most prolific fiction podcaster of all time. Period. No argument. This was a person who created literally hundreds of shows.
Was Candor a genius or insane? I don't think we'll ever know.
A prolific creator who disappeared suddenly in 2020. Off the map, off the radar, done, gone, over. Like Amelia Earhart. From me, B.K. Will, in conjunction with Trojan Cat Media, a division of Corp, comes Who is Cam Candor? This is episode 2, Bedminster.
Dolores Cantwont. She's living in Santa Barbara, and she has a story to tell. Call her at 1-805-555.
Everything changed the day I got this message. I'd been searching for information on the elusive audio drama producer, Cam Candor, the same creator who disappeared suddenly in 2020. Finally, I had a name, someone who'd worked with Cam Candor on a show called Bedminster.
And now, dear listeners, prepare yourselves for another day in Bedminster.
Miss Ivanka, Eric has the car pulled up.
Thank you, Rosa. Do send him in, why don't you? I'd like to finish my coffee. Seems cruel to keep my driver out in the cold.
The car does have heat, ma'am.
Yes?
And it is July.
Thank you, Rosa.
Dolores Cantwont played the character of Ivanka in a soap opera about the Trump family. I'd never been able to locate any of Cam Candor's actors, so this was a huge piece of the puzzle. If I could talk to this woman, who knows where it would lead?
Please leave your message after the tone.
Miss Cantwont, my name is B.K. Will. I'm hoping you might be able to speak to me about your work with Cam Candor. Please call me at your earliest convenience at 310-555-55. Before we get too deep into the search for Cam Candor, we have to talk about the why of it all. Why finding this person is so important. And that means we need to look a bit into the history of indie fiction podcasting, how it started, how it ended. For that, we turn to former podcast critic and now winemaker, David A. Person.
I'm actually not doing wine anymore.
My apologies, David. Tell us, what are you doing these days?
I'm selling natural latex mattresses.
I see.
What do you mean, you see? Are you judging me?
I'm sorry. No, not at all. It's just an interesting career trajectory. That's all.
Okay. So what did you want to know about fiction podcasting?
Yes. Let's talk about the indie scene, when it existed.
Bygone era.
Indeed. It's no more, so what happened?
There was a robust indie scene starting in the early aughts. It expanded into the teens and early 20s. All genres, great imaginative works, and it was very egalitarian. Indie audio drama standing side by side on the charts next to big budget shows from large media companies. Starting around the 20-teens and 2020s, podcast companies started acquiring other podcast companies. Small buys at first, then larger and larger. Scripps bought Stitcher. Spotify bought Gimlet.
Amazon bought Wondery.
Larger corporations were consuming podcast networks, hosting platforms, distribution arms. Multinational corporations just gobbling up other companies. And then they started acquiring creators.
David A. Person was right. That actually started in 2021 with Facebook, when they added podcasts to their app. In the fine print, Facebook gave themselves a lot of freedom to alter creators' works. Sadly, most never noticed it. That was the beginning of the end. In the mid-2020s, Google bought Amazon, Apple bought Google, and of course, Corp bought Apple. What came next, as everyone knows, was Dax Shepard.
Oh yes, Dax Shepard.
This is Graciela Lopez, professor at Berkeley's College of Lost Arts.
It was the Dax Shepardization of fiction podcasting.
Explain.
After the one massive merger in 2025, all the fiction podcasts were being produced and distributed by Corp. And eventually, all of those shows starred Dax Shepard.
What was it about Dax Shepard?
It wasn't so much that Dax had something. It's more about what he lacked.
Okay, I'll bite. What did Dax lack?
Basically, he had low repugnancy ratings per Gallup's odiometer, which measured a media personality's odiousness. It was the opposite of a Q rating. He was okay to most people. Of all the celebrities in the world, the algorithm deemed Dax Shepard the least awful.
So it's not that Dax was universally loved.
No, he just wasn't despised excessively. A different metric altogether. Corp leaned into that and put him in every single fiction podcast.
But there were still indie fiction podcasts after 2025, no doubt.
Sure, for a while. But it was impossible to get attention, traction. Corp controlled marketing, advertising, distribution. Indie fiction podcasts just became impossible to find. Most creators moved on,
To what?
Other lines of work, winemaking, latex mattresses.
That's interesting.
Is it, though?
Let's investigate this further with David A. Person.
It's true. By 2028, the top 100 shows on all the podcast charts, every genre, were shows that starred Dax Shepard.
This didn't bother anyone?
Not really. I don't think people noticed. The 2024 election, its aftermath. People had a lot on their minds. Most people were like, oh, here's a show with Dax Shepard. That's fine. Look, there was so much going on in the world that seemed worthy of people's outrage, their ire. No one really noticed, let alone complained. And before you knew it, Corp had world domination of all podcasting, fiction and nonfiction.
It's this context that I think is important. What makes my search for Cam Candor so urgent? Indies went the way of the dinosaur, and Cam Candor was Tyrannosaurus Rex, if you will. The main gazane, the big kahuna, the top dog, the most prolific indie creator of all time. And yet, Candor disappeared. Why? How? Meanwhile, I still had no word from actress Dolores Cantwont.
Please leave a message after the tone.
Miss Cantwont, I hate to bother you again. This is BK Will. I'm hoping you'll call me back. I'd love to speak to you about Cam Candor.
Stop calling me.
Miss Cantwont,
Leave me alone. I'm not interested in what you're selling.
please don't hang up. I'm not a telemarketer. Oh, damn it. Dolores Cantwont was living up to her name. For some reason, she can't or won't talk. She'd left me no choice but to track her down in person. We'll get into that after this quick break. My search for Cam Candor was not going to be thwarted by the resistance of one actress. The next day, I got in my car and headed off to Santa Barbara to find Dolores Cantwont. This was as good a time as any to revisit more of Bedminster. When we last left it, we had been introduced to Ivanka Trump, her brother/chauffeur Eric Trump, and their trusty housekeeper, Rosa. Ivanka has just found out that her father and arch nemesis Melania have left Mar-a-Lago and are coming to stay at Bedminster.
From the makers of Go Quick, America's fastest working suppository, comes Bedminster.
How long will Daddy and that woman be staying here, Rosa?
The Secret Service is asking us to have a large supply of Coke on hand.
What? Brother Don's coming as well?
Coca-Cola, madame. decanted into Pepsi bottles for the optics. A 10-day supply.
10 days? That's a Scaramucci and a half. It's plenty of time for that Slovakian shrew to do some damage.
Melania is Slovenian.
Tomato, tomato. Thank you, Rosa. I must think. Do send my driver in, why don't you? He always makes me feel smarter.
Madame.
Yes, Miss Ivanka, where to? The mall?
No, Eric, we're not driving anywhere. I need you to do me a favor.
Anything for father's first wife.
I'm his daughter, Eric.
Oh, that's right.
Eric, focus. I need you to plant some bugs in the bedroom where Daddy and his escort will be staying.
But if they're coming from Mar-a-Lago, won't they be bringing their own bed bugs with them?
No, Eric. We need different kinds of bugs.
Cockroaches?
No.
Spiders?
No.
Moths? They're nifty. They have wings.
No, Eric. Electronic bugs. Listening devices.
Oh, so you can hear father's nocturnal farting sounds?
My goodness, no. Wherever did you come up with that?
The 4-syllable word? Nocturnal? Heh, no clue.
Go. We haven't much time. Get the bugs from Stephen Miller. Plant them somewhere where father will never find them.
How about a book on Black history?
Now you're thinking, brother. Congratulations.
IMDb had no listing for a Dolores Cantwont. I wondered if she'd given up acting entirely and moved up here to escape Hollywood with her failed dreams in tow. She was proving to be as big a mystery as Cam Candor. I'd arrived in Santa Barbara and found Dolores Cantwont's house easily. Luckily, her son had divulged her whereabouts. It was a cute bungalow on a quiet street.
Yes, who's there?
Miss Cantwont?
Who are you?
Miss Cantwont, my name is B.K. Will. I was just hoping we could talk for just a moment. Miss Cantwont?
I don't care to speak to anyone. I want to be alone.
Please, I just have a few questions about Cam Candor. If you could just open the door.
I'm going to call the police.
I'm not here to cause trouble. Your son talked to me about your career, and I just have a few questions. Miss Cantwont?
Look, I'm not answering your questions. I don't have anything to say about Cam Candor, and I don't have a son.
Get off my lawn, animal.
Why was Dolores Cantwont so resistant? Was her experience with Candor that unpleasant? She said she had no son, and yet it was a man claiming to be her son who left that tip for me.
Hi, this is a message for B.K. Will. My mother, let's call her Dolores, was an actress on a Cam Candor show called Bedminster.
I don't know why, but I believe Dolores Cantwont. This wasn't her son. So who was he? I'd put so much hope in talking to her about Cam Candor, but for now, this angle of my investigation was dead. I headed back to L.A. and listened to more of Bedminster.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Miss Ivanka. Mr. Sean is on the phone. He says it's urgent.
Sean Spicer. He's out on the course caddying for our oligarch guest. What could be so urgent?
He says he found something near the 16th hole.
Found what? His credibility? And they say I'm not funny. Score. Ivanka Trump 1, comedy 0.
No, Miss Ivanka, it's a severed finger.
Hold up. Did she say severed finger?
No, Miss Ivanka, it's a severed finger.
Severed finger? That's unfortunate.
Another severed finger? This was just like Mr. Fezziwhig talks crumpets.
Oh my, look at that!
What is it, Mr. Fezziwhig? Why, I do believe it's a severed finger.
Seems Cam Candor may have had an obsession with severed fingers. Was this a clue? Am I being pointed in a new direction? I'll dig more into this mystery next time on Who is Cam Candor? If you have any information on Cam Candor, please reach out to us on Twitter at Cam Candor. Or if you've heard of a lost Cam Candor show, let us know and we'll research it. It could become the basis for one of our episodes. Next time on Who is Cam Candor?
Cam Candor was obsessed with fingers. They figured into many of the shows. It's probably symbolic of something deeper.
Is it possible Cam was just a perv with some weird fetish like Tarantino with feet?
Or Armie Hammer with all the body parts?
Exactly. This is BK Will. Visit us at camcandor.com for clues, intel, and ways you can help support the essential search for Cam Candor.